What's good, y'all boys? Welcome back again to another video. It's your boy, Boss Enosh. You feel me? We're back again. Listen. I know I took a little week break. You feel me? I was in Houston, living life. But I'm back now like I never left. Today, we're going to watch this video called How the U.S. Government Destroyed Black Families. So this popped up on my timeline. I'm aware of certain things that the government has done that has negatively affected black people, okay? I'm not going to say I'm an expert, but I'm aware of things that some people, regular people don't really know about or think about because it's not stuff that they really teach. You have to like go look for yourself. Stuff like COINTELPRO, you do what I'm saying? But we'll see if this even touches upon it. I feel like it would. That's a pretty big one. But we'll see if they touch upon COINTELPRO among other things. And yeah. I know some people like to be like, oh, victim mindset, victimhood. I agree. Some people like to revel in that victim mindset, okay, in the feeling of being a victim. But that's not to say that you can't acknowledge actual victimization, okay? That's where people take shit too far. In the effort, it's a pushback on the constant messaging of victimhood, right? So now it's like, bro, I don't want to hear that shit. But when you push that shit too much, it makes people turn their ears off to the things that actually happen. It's kind of like when people, lie about like abuse, right? Or sexual assault. You dig what I'm saying? Or grape. I gotta say it YouTube friendly so they don't yellow mark this video. But like when you lie about these things and you make it so egregious, now when people see other situations, they don't believe it. Like there's something going on with Russell Brand right now. We're gonna look into that after this video actually. But yeah, man. So we're about to get into it. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let's go.
Fathers have left home in order for their children to get meat and bread.
Okay.
There are so many dehumanizing elements in the welfare system that we are concerned about removing. Ultimately, we are concerned.
Oh, I never seen Martin Luther King talk about the welfare. Oh, if you seen the Black Conservatives versus White Liberals video, the youngest one there, I think his name was Chandler or something. He kept bringing that up about welfare.
About a guaranteed annual income. And the other thing I think it is very necessary to say is that everybody's on welfare in this country. And when it comes to black people and poor people, we just call it something else. When it's for white people and rich, we call it subsidies.
What the fuck?
It's no secret, fatherless households are more common in the black community. A survey from the American Consensus Institution revealed that 67% of black children under 18 in the U.S. live in homes without fathers. This
67?
is in contrast to white children, as only 24% of them live in fatherless homes. But it wasn't always like
67? That's crazy.
that. The black families survived generations of open...
Hold on. How many they said under 18? How many black kids under 18 grow up without a father? Oh, it's 57% now. Okay. It probably went down from when he first looked at the stats. Source: Family Structure in Children's Living Rooms in 2012. Oh, that's 2012. Okay, so it's going down. That's good. But still, look at the disparity from white people. White people's going down too. Jesus Christ. At the peak, it seemed like white people's was almost 20, 19.3. Blacks... No, peak was 53. Damn, in the 90s? God damn. And listen, so 90s, that's a lot of what, millennials? So a lot of millennials right now that are adults now, they probably aren't having kids right now. They grew up without fathers in the household, bro.
Racism, widespread poverty, and slavery. They lived through segregation and violence, and strong family bonds used to be the norm.
As of 1960, 2/3 of all black American children were living with both parents. That declined over the years until only 1/3 were living with both parents in 1995. So it's not the legacy of slavery that destroys the African American family.
It's the legacy of the welfare state.
Between 1890 and 1950, the marriage rate was much higher among black women than white women. A fraction of black children lived in homes without their fathers. But everything changed with the expansion of the welfare state. It divided the household and created a dependency on welfare. This kind of reminds me of what President Reagan said.
I've always felt...
Hold on. This voice sounds familiar. But this voice sounds like Amir Odom. The gay dude. The gay black conservative leaning dude.
Felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
So, what happened? What's the mechanism? Here is a detailed look at how the welfare state played a role in the dissolving of the family structure over the years.
Okay, let's see.
People say that the breakdown of traditional family units, family structures, is a byproduct of black poverty, not just because there is no man to support the family financially, but also because women tend to earn less than men on average. Of course, the connection between the two is there, but it goes deeper than that. Welfare was a mean little business. It was designed to get people by in a pinch. Public assistance programs, like welfare entitlements, have been a part of American culture since the 1940s. Unfortunately, like in many other elements, even in the most impoverished black communities, in the decade that followed, the number of black people on welfare went up by 169%. They further increased by 30% from 1970 to 1975. In 1972, New York City, almost 1 out of every 6 residents was on welfare. A major portion of these households were black. Although black people were only around 1/10 of all Americans, they made up almost 50% of all welfare recipients by the late 70s. A recent UNICEF report showed that many children under 18 in America struggle financially, and African American children are nearly 4 times more likely to be in poverty than white children. Though the number of families receiving cash assistance has decreased since 1996, child poverty rates for black children in the US remain high. This outcome is not by accident. I studied the evolution of social welfare policies in the US from the New Deal to the 1996 reforms and found that these policies have been discriminatory from the start. And a lot of people can confess to that. This led many black families to fall into cultural and economic ruin. In a short period, healthy black people started relying on government assistance to achieve some level of normalcy. But within the city slums, that normalcy was impossible to get. Black children barely knew their fathers, and most were raised by unemployed and unmarried mothers stuck in a cycle of poverty and modest paychecks. This marked a significant shift.
I don't think we'll talk about a crack epidemic
In black American history. The consequences were severe.
And the war on drugs. Probably not. Seems like they're just focusing on welfare. But, you know, if we're going to talk about how, like, fathers were disappearing from the home and how the government seemingly incentivized no fathers being there so you can get welfare, we also got to talk about the other side of it, too, on where these fathers were, right? You feel me? What happened to these fathers? What's going on with these fathers? You got to look at all the sides of it, you feel me? And some of it is that, you know, because people are so impoverished, and they have trouble finding ways to get out of that in a legal route, you know what I'm saying? Fast money, quick money, so they can alleviate their struggles. They start selling drugs. Where do them drugs come from? How do them drugs get there? Okay? Because you can see, if you look at the data, you see there was a point in time where there was not a big ass problem with drugs, and a point in time where there was a big ass fucking problem with drugs. So what happened in that point that made that shit explode? You feel me? And then boom, mass incarceration. Boom, lock all these niggas up. Boom. It's just a cycle. People are poor. They're trying to find ways to make money. Okay, I can make money selling drugs if I have to do a bunch of extra shit. Boom. But that puts my life in danger. And from other people trying to kill me and the law trying to get me. Now I'm in jail. Now I got kids. And it's a cycle. Continues. It's tough, bro. It's tough.
For the next generation. Let's start with the Social Security Act of 1935. It was introduced during Franklin Roosevelt's administration.
1935.
It was designed to create the safety net in the country, safeguarding families from losing their income. It was viewed as a significant part of New Deal reform and paved the way for federal protections in the future, such as the Affordable Care Act and Medicare. This policy had 2 main parts. The first part had social insurance programs that provided financial support to dependents of deceased or incapacitated workers and Social Security for retired older Americans. The second part comprised means-tested public assistance programs, initially known as Aid to Dependent Children and later renamed Aid to Families with Dependent Children. In 1962, under the Kennedy administration, ideally, it was believed that as the overall quality of life in the country improved, more families could support themselves without needing financial assistance from the ADC program. Eventually, the ADC program would become unnecessary and gradually phase out on its own. But this posed a major problem for Black Americans. Like any other component of the New Deal, the origins of the Social Security Act were deeply rooted in racism. During the 1930s and 1940s, Black people had to deal with widespread racial discrimination in the workplace. They held low-paying jobs.
So pretty much the government's plan was, okay, you get assistance, and then you're getting this assistance while you're trying to find ways to work yourself up, you know what I'm saying, to get independent from welfare. That may have worked for some people, but for a lot of black people, it was hard because racial discrimination in working, in jobs. This is the 40s and 50s we're talking about, okay? Jim Crow, they was not fucking with black people, okay? It's not, it's not that long ago. This is really recent history. I ain't gonna lie to you. A lot of these people are still alive.
Often paid in cash and off the books. This made him ineligible for social insurance programs. The ADC program was an extension of state-run programs that supported widowed mothers, but mostly benefited white widows. The states decided eligibility and need, and since the separate but equal doctrine was in place, blacks were still excluded from fully participating. Jim Crow laws and the separate but equal doctrine led to a system with different services for whites and blacks. But, as we all know by now, they were far from equal. States made efforts to cut down ADC enrollment and costs. They proposed residency requirements to prevent blacks from the South from qualifying for the program. In 1935, there was a hearing on a bill, and the NAACP, an organization that fights for civil rights, expressed their concerns. Southern politicians wanted to exclude agricultural and domestic workers from the bill. This meant that many black workers couldn't get the support they needed. This exclusion would particularly affect black sharecroppers and cash tenants, who were already struggling to make ends meet. Even though the NAACP was highly against it, the Social Security Act was approved. That's why 65% of African Americans nationwide were not eligible for benefits, and an even larger percentage of these black families in the South were excluded from the program. In the 1950s and 60s, things got even worse for black families. Welfare checks incentivized single-mother households, and there was one rule that ruined it all: the man-in-the-house rule. Black families have long been the victims of income inequality and bad government policies. The irony, of course, is that conservatives pushed black mothers to break their families to get welfare. Before 1968, many states
Conservatives,
pushed black mothers to break their families to get welfare.
Cause look, I see it. Cause look, if yo baby daddy or your husband is barely making ends meet, can't get a job, can't hold a job, then white people's not giving him a job. He don't have the means to make his own business, and the government is gonna give you welfare, and you're gonna get more money from welfare than you would from your baby daddy, your husband, your child's father. Okay, get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get my government check and I'm gonna be straight. Before
1968, many states and administrative agencies created and enforced the man-in-the-house rule. This rule basically meant that if there is a working or healthy man in the house, the government can't help you. And they would go as far as to send welfare workers to visit the homes without warning to check if a man was present. If they found any evidence whatsoever, families lost their welfare benefits. Over the years, the welfare...
And it's like, bro, because they're thinking like, okay, because look, back in the day, mainly for white people, right? For regular white people, not the super poor white people, regular white people, which is the majority of white people, they're able to work a job, buy a house, buy a car, take care of the family, all on one income. All just the father working. Okay? A lot of times the wife did not have to work. The wife can stay home and chill with the kids, vibing. Because, the economy was built like that. Prices were low like that. It was sustainable for that amount of time. But not for a majority of black people. A lot of black people had to struggle because there was work discrimination. Job discrimination. They was not letting them niggas work. And if niggas can't work, how we gonna eat?
States started dissolving the family structure, slowly but surely. A man who can't get a decent job and provide a substantial income suddenly believes that his family is better off without him. So, if a man were to lose his job, he literally had to leave the house so his children could get government surplus peanut butter, beans, and cheese. On the other hand, if either the woman or the man, or both, were irresponsible, they faced no consequences for their actions. And it was the taxpayers who ended up paying for it. These things aren't exactly designed to keep the marriage intact. They are meant to divide people. The harm done to the children was massive. Many children experienced the hurt from broken families at such a young age. In 1960, just 33% of black American children didn't live with two parents, but by 1988, that rate went up to 61%. In that time, the proportion of black children born to single mothers rose from 23% to more than 60%.
God
This is
damn.
exactly why we can't judge government policies based on their ideals, but based on their results. And these results, well, left a ton of households fatherless. I mean, think about it. What would the result have been if this welfare policy had required the opposite of that both parents live in the same home and care for their children to receive government assistance? The welfare state did what slavery couldn't do. It broke families apart, and broken families fuel poverty. The structure.
That's why I always say, like, if you look at, that's why I say when certain things do stem from slavery, because what has been the common theme? Breaking apart the family, breaking apart the black family, separating the man from the woman and the kids. They did it in slavery, right? They would have some of the enslaved people breed, and when they have their kids and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Boom, now they want to separate her. They want to sell them. They want to sell the dad this way. They want to keep the mom and the kids so the mom can raise the kids. They might sell the kids off. You dig what I'm saying? For some sicko that want to do stuff to them. You dig what I'm saying? They would do that shit, bro. They would do a lot of things to mess with people's head, bro. They would rape their wives. They would rape the husbands in front of the wives, in front of the husbands, in front of the kids. They would fuck them up in the head, bro. Fast forward, welfare state. Oh, you want some government assistance because you're poor and broke and poor and you can't get a job because people don't like you because you're black and they're racist? Get the dad out the home and we'll take care of you. The government's your daddy now. Look how all this shit connect, bro.
Structure of the family can influence the choices children make. For example, boys raised without their fathers are more likely to drop out of school, get violence, use drugs, or go to jail.
Yep, Larry earlier was talking about this on the Breakfast Club and Charlamagne was just saying stupid shit.
Girls are
Trump had a father. Look at him now. Shut up.
Are more likely to have a child out of wedlock or engage in sexual activities at a very early age. These children are also more prone to mental health problems.
The boys too, though. The boys too.
Which can affect them as adults. A psychology test, detailed in Roy Baumeister and John Tierney's book, Willpower, showed that children from fatherless households were more likely to settle for a small prize straight away. In contrast, children with fathers present were more willing to wait for a bigger prize. Experts from the Northwestern Institute for Policy Research challenged that these effects are primarily due to dangerous neighborhoods or poor schools. They found that the direct effect of family structure itself played a more significant role. As marriage rates declined among the poor and working class in the US, the institution of marriage has remained strong among the wealthier population, with similar rates to those from 50 years ago. At the same time, the decrease in marriage among the working class has led to a significant rise in out-of-wedlock births, often to couples who are living together without being married. This happens because people view marriage as an ideal situation, but feel it is unachievable, yet they still want to have children. In the mid-1980s, the rates of fatherless households dramatically increased. Today, just 44% of black children live with their fathers. Also, a lot more black children are born outside of marriage. The rates of such cases went up from 24.5% in 1964 to 70.7% by 1994, which remains at a similar level today. Many people blame the expansion of welfare programs for the breakdown of black families.
You see that increase,
Since
bro?
1935, people have had access to cash welfare, but this welfare was quite modest and not enough to cover any of the living expenses. With Johnson's Great Society, which began in 1964, welfare benefits became much more generous and controlled. When I mean controlled, I mean crazy. The man in the house rule discouraged marriage because it provided welfare assistance to mothers if no man was living in the house. If a mother married an employed man, even one earning the minimum wage, it jeopardized her financial support. These benefits were huge. The Great Society programs offered a way out for low-income black families. This could be why, in 1964, only 7% of American children were born out of wedlock, compared to the current rate of 40%. So basically, the government urged mothers to keep fathers out of the home and paid them well for doing so. Shifts in the labor market and deindustrialization greatly impacted job opportunities, especially for low-skilled workers. It hurt both whites and...
Facts, bro. First, it's racial discrimination. Okay, we get rid of that. But now, it's all them jobs that a lot of people would have worked overseas, out of here. Oh my gosh, bro.
And black people, but black communities were the most affected. Here's an example. Imagine a city like Detroit, where the manufacturing industry was the top employer, and many black men held manufacturing jobs.
Yes,
here, in
working
the
with their
1970s,
hands.
56% of black men were in the manufacturing industry, but by 2000, it dropped to 26%. Over the years, technological advancements and economic shifts created a demand for skilled workers in other sectors, like healthcare or technology. These new jobs required a higher level of education and
Yep.
specialized skills. The
Yep.
problem was the lower level of education among black men on average. As jobs increasingly required education beyond high school, black men faced many challenges. This made it harder for them to adapt to the changing job market and find new employment in other industries. White men were
That's why I'm worried about like what's going to happen with AI, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna take even more jobs.
better equipped to handle the changing job market. They had higher education and a greater chance of securing well-paid jobs in emerging industries. Then there was the 90s gear change. In the late 1990s, efforts to reform the ADC program took on more subtle forms of racism. Critics claimed that the program encouraged out-of-wedlock births, irresponsible fatherhood, and dependency across generations. During this time, there was a lot of public concern about the cost of welfare programs. Some people believed that the programs contributed to rising taxes and national debt. It tapped into public fears and created a seriously negative perception of people who received welfare. There were a lot of misconceptions and stereotypes about those who lived in poverty. So, the reform bill that was eventually passed.
I know some people that get money from welfare. They get money from disability checks from the kids. You know, ain't nothing wrong with their kids, and they get the child support for sure. It's tough, bro. It's tough. And they have, boyfriends or whatever that be sending them money too, because a lot of girls can get niggas to send them money. It's tough, bro. Some people that really, what they call a welfare queen. There's some people that really living like that, bro.
Replaced the AFDC with TANF, Temporary Assistance to Needy Families. The new bill imposed stricter work requirements, expecting single mothers to find work within 2 years of receiving benefits. There was also a 5-year limit on receiving benefits. To promote traditional family values, teenage mothers didn't receive benefits. But that was not all. If a father were to fall behind on child support payments, they could face threats of imprisonment. The bill restricted the use of federally funded TANF for certain groups of immigrants. There were also eligibility limitations on Medicaid, food stamps, and supplementary Social Security income, SSI. These measures were just too harsh. They made it difficult for families in need to get proper financial support. Instead of addressing the root of poverty and creating new employment opportunities, it just punished those who already struggled financially.
Exactly.
Well, today, modern problems require new solutions. According to
Modern problems require modern solutions. That's the thing. Like, they don't fix shit. They try to. When you want to fix a problem, you gotta attack it at the root. Okay, get these jobs back so people can work. That's what it is. When people can get jobs they can work at, right? Boom. They set the because look, like I said, it's about college educations, right? A lot of these jobs, a lot of jobs that were taken away, the jobs that replaced them required more, or the jobs that grew required more college education. College is not easy to come by for poor people. Okay, how do you solve it? Make college free? Some people would say that. I don't know if that's. I don't know. Would making college free? I don't know. That's complicated. Making anything free, especially something like that on a mass scale, that's complicated, and I don't think that shit would work for real. I don't know why. I don't have the information. I have to look into that. But I know people that like more left leaning viewers will say stuff like that, like Hassan viewers or H3. Just make college free. I don't know the ins and outs. I'm not gonna argue against that, but I think that's not feasible, to be honest. But okay, if we get these jobs back from overseas, get these manufacturing jobs back, right? Then the lower class people, right? They're able to work and have steady jobs and provide for their family, and with them providing them for their family, their kids are growing up. The kids can get opportunities to go to college and then move up in life, type shit. But it's the foundation. The foundation already fucked up. The fathers and the parents aren't able to work those jobs that were there. Right, and not a lot of men go into the healthcare field, right? Which also requires some schooling. It's tough, bro. It's them trade jobs. We need more people in the trade jobs. That's what it is. How do you encourage that, influence that? I don't know, bro. It's different. It's case by case. Every city is different. Every impoverished neighborhood is different. People are people, but we gotta find ways to encourage getting those jobs, electricians, plumbers, Jesus Christ.
Forbes, the economic status of Black Americans is still far behind compared to white people in terms of stock ownership, net worth, income, home ownership, and other metrics.
Yeah.
In the United States,
Look at the
black
homeless rate.
workers earn about 30% less than white workers. Almost 50% of black workers are working in retail, food services, healthcare, and accommodation. And a huge chunk of these workers are doing lower paying services.
Yeah.
Imagine getting paid more than 40% less than white men for doing the exact same job. If you are a black woman in the US, this is more likely to happen. In 2020, black women earned around 58% of what white men earned on average. Similar to Latinas and Native women, black women
They just saying like overall. I mean, it makes sense saying overall because they're not working the same jobs. For women, I think for a lot of women, it's kind of just like a choice. Like they'd rather go into like the healthcare area. But then for poor people, it's like just, they don't got no college education. They do the jobs that are readily available, which is fast food and stuff like that. So that's where those pay gaps come from, just the type of jobs people are working. Compared to white people, on average, it's more likely that a white person will have the opportunity or access to go work in different areas, whether it be from nepotism or whether it be from just having a good upbringing, a good foundation, whether it be middle class. Even if it's like lower middle class, the parents going to push them to go to school, learn this, be successful so you can get a high paying job, make some money. And they be grinding too. Some of the white people be grinding, bruh. There's one dude that does door-to-door solar. And bruh, he'll tell me how his work schedule. That man worked Monday to Saturday from 9 a.m. to damn near 7 or 8 p.m., bro. That every day. Motherfucker be grinding, bro. He be grinding. Let's keep going.
face a much more significant pay gap compared to all women. This is because they face both racism and sexism in the workplace. Today, the Social Security program is a backbone for many black families.
I don't know. I don't believe, because, bro, if you are working the same job as somebody else, same job, same experience, and someone is getting paid more than you, but y'all do the same shit, that's a problem. It's discrimination, and you got a lawsuit. They got a lawsuit on their hands because we have laws against that shit, bro. So, and people say, oh, well, just because there's laws against it doesn't mean people don't do it anyway. Yeah, you're right. But the reason the laws are there is that's the backbone. That's the legal backbone. So if you see something is up, you use that to your advantage, sue their ass. Boom. That's an easy win. Discrimination lawsuits, they're easy. If there's 100% proof, that's a super easy win, bro. That's super easy.
It protects them through disability, retirement, or death. The program is crucial because African Americans often lack financial resources and have higher disability rates. The program is meant to help those who earn low income get benefits. Those who heavily rely on Social Security are older black people with lower lifetime earnings and fewer pension benefits. For example, in 2017, 35% of married and 58% of unmarried older black people received 90% or more of their income from Social Security.
Wow.
Despite its importance, black Americans still benefit less overall from the program because of the ongoing pay disparities and shorter life expectancies. These factors result in lower lifetime earnings and, in turn, reduce the total benefits received from Social Security. In 2005, President George W. Bush wanted to make some changes and planned to privatize the program. But the NAACP responded with a nationwide campaign called SOS, Save Our Social Security, and partnered with the Congressional Black to keep the program safe. It worked. Social Security
Congressional Black Caucus. Why you say like Congressional Black? Caucus. Say caucus.
and partnered with the Congressional Black to keep the program safe. It worked. Social Security is still an important support system for countless families. Unfortunately, our country has made very few efforts to reduce the disparities in wealth and income between black and white households. Despite laws against pay discrimination, black men earn 83 cents and black women earn 62 cents for every dollar earned by white men. Also, practices like redlining or housing discrimination
I wonder how they get that number. Like, what is that? How do you calculate that?
made it nearly impossible or much less profitable for black families to own homes. These structural barriers create fewer opportunities for black people to accumulate wealth and save for retirement. When the pandemic hit, Social Security became even more critical. Many black adults lost jobs, and many small businesses were forced to close. The coronavirus made it very difficult to keep up with mortgage or rental payments. The thing is, today, more black Americans are more likely to enter a church to go to a funeral than to celebrate a wedding. Fatherless homes, declining marriage rates, and high divorce rates are challenging the black community to the core. Imagine as a young child living in poverty with a single mother in a poor and drug-infested neighborhood. Over the years, you would have witnessed how this would impact your chances of success, like finishing high school and getting a good job. Because of this, many black children are raised with little expectations or a sense of hope. Now, some might argue that it takes a village to raise a kid, but in reality, the urban public housing village is drenched in toxic influences like violence, drugs, and bad role models.
Oh no, is that the video where they chopped the dude
Is drenched
in New York in
toxic
the neck?
influences like violence,
Maybe not. Maybe that's different.
drugs, and bad role models.
Bad role
and
models.
in that village, fatherless
Yeah.
boys are left.
And where, you know, people are living in, when people are living like that, bro, in toxic environments, you're gonna, with no hope, no faith, no idea what tomorrow's gonna bring, not knowing if you're gonna live or die. You know, people just want an escape. You feel me? That's why a lot of people turn to drugs, because it's like, bro, life sucks. You feel me? Or even, you feel me? Like, people are looking for escape because they see no hope. They don't see the light in the darkness, bro. And imagine being a kid growing up in an environment like that, where all you see is bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. It fucks with your head. You know what I'm saying? That's how you see a lot of grown adults, young men, young women that just do weird stuff, they have weird behaviors. They do a lot of questionable things because that's how they grew up. They grew up in an environment surrounded by people like that, including maybe their own family. It's not an easy life to live, bro. And this is America. This is how people are living in America.
Alone to figure out what it takes to be a man. So, where do they look? To one another. And in many cases, they turn to gangs and the streets.
Yeah.
Girls' lives, too, are deeply damaged in fatherless households. Without a father figure, young girls can experience psychological and emotional challenges. They can have lower self-esteem and struggle to form healthy relationships with men. Teen pregnancy is a common problem. They can also struggle with economic hardships and poor academic performance. For things to change, we need to acknowledge that the absence of black men is damaging countless households. To fill this void, it is essential to reunite fathers with their children, but also to teach the younger generation the value of family structures. But this is something that will take time and a lot of effort. All in all, the U.S. welfare system is a clear reflection of its economic policies and the nation's long history of racism. From the very beginning, the policy excluded black Americans who were already struggling financially. The man in the house rule only made things worse, which greatly impacted black households. The expansion of welfare led to a decrease in fathers' involvement in raising their children, leaving mothers to struggle alone in jobless poverty. This created a new reality for poor blacks, where work became optional, fathers were rare, and dysfunction became common. The lack of family loyalty and work ethic led to a new oppositional racial outlook among young black males who often resorted to crime. Now, years later, the impact of the rule can still be felt. A lot of black children have grown up without a father, and they can easily go astray. The situation is hard for overworked and exhausted single mothers. The more children they had, the harder it was to get a job. I just want to point out the brutal reality that led to such circumstances. The welfare culture discouraged individual responsibility. It pushed people to make hard choices, which damaged their families and put everyone involved in challenging positions. This is a reality that many now have to live with. If you enjoyed this documentary, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We aren't just telling stories, we're changing lives and waking the culture
They funny. Why they put 1 million subscribers? They're at 20, 30K. They funny for that.
up. The video on the screen shares why they are banning black history in schools. Click on it now to watch. It will change
Well,
your
that's interesting. Why are they banning black history in schools? I want to see about that, because I have seen who's banning black history. The only thing they didn't, who's banning? Okay, we're going to have to look into that. Who is banning black history? I have not seen any evidence of that. The only things that I've seen are, the book bannings that are happening where people, like local people, not liking a book that someone wrote if it has too much like adult themes, and I've seen that. I haven't seen anything specifically about African American black history being banned. In Florida, they denied the optional AP African American history course, but they denied it because they had a lot of queer studies stuff in it, and gender studies, and I guess more communist, socialist ideas in there that they were trying to push. That's why they said take that shit out and then come back with it. Boom. And then that recent outrage about slavery is beneficial to black people. They took one line that said some slaves were able to use what they learned when they weren't slaves anymore, which is true. It wasn't common, but it was true. That's something that happened. And it was one line out of a 200-page thing, program, curriculum, and people was going crazy for it because they was trying to look for an easy political media hit against their political opponents, the DeSantis and Republicans. Other than that, I haven't seen anything about no African Americans banning African American history. I don't know. Now let's say if they didn't want people talking about like Malcolm X or something. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, don't talk about Martin Luther King. That's crazy. But other than that, I'm sure there's some stuff that they could actually add to it, to African American history, to talk about, like COINTELPRO, like how the FBI had a role in like trying to dismantle a lot of black movements, black organizations. How, like with people like Fred Hampton, for example, right? They had spies go into these groups to dismantle, and how they assassinated people, political opponents. They don't really talk about all that. They talk about Martin Luther King. I think they mentioned Malcolm X, maybe. And they talk about Jim Crow. They talk about civil rights movement. They talk about slavery. They talk about Obama. That's it. Yeah, bro. So if anything, they can go in depth. I need to look at some of the curriculum, because you can find curriculums online. But yeah, I don't know. We can watch this video next to see what they're talking about. This is from 3 months ago, and we'll see. Maybe it's gonna prove me wrong. Maybe it's gonna show me some stuff I didn't know about. Let's see. Because I understand there definitely is a history of like. I think throughout history, there's been people that try to like hide certain things from certain groups of people. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to black people. But this will be the next video we watch for sure. But in the meantime, thank y'all for watching. I know it's a little bit longer, but hey, it's talking about some good information I feel like people need to see for real. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Did the welfare state have a hand in destroying black families and black communities? What can we do to change that? What can we do to solve the issue from the root, or at least attack the problem from the root? Is there a future for black people in America? Okay, a positive one with positive outcomes. I hope so. Let me know what y'all think in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Peace out.